guys. Today I want to talk about the Rotten Tomato score of Justice League. It's right now at 40%. It was 43 when I think the early reviews came out, combined with the early screening at Tuesday, I think. But it's at this moment 40%. Is that justified? Is that justified? Technically, like in if we're talking about non-comic book fans going to see it and seeing certain flaws in it, in the story, etc., yes, it is. It is. But the enjoyment comic book fans get out of seeing their favorite superheroes on screen fighting with the villain, etc., 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 will make you feel like it's a better movie than it actually is. The story is very weak. It's paper thin. Um, the dynamic of the characters is great, but the dialogue is horrible. You know, it's constantly a thing that is great, but another thing that drags it down. It's the same with Wonder Woman. You know, Wonder Woman is great. Diana Prince is less great because the way she delivers her lines are very fake sometimes, very cringeworthy. I don't know who said to her that those lines that she spouted out, especially when, spoiler, when Superman turned evil and she was trying to reconnect with Clark, and she yells out Clark, but she yells it out in a way that wasn't convincing enough for me to be like, oh, that's an emotional punch she's trying to get through. Things like that makes the movie a great film, more so than a great comic book film. It is better than Batman v Superman. It is better than Suicide Squad for sure. It's not even close to Wonder Woman. And for me, it's not even close to Man of Steel because I really like Man of Steel. Justice League had problems in the story. It had problems in the villain. It had the problem that it felt empty in a way. Very, very empty, just like Thor: The Dark World, or films like that, where the emotional punch isn't there. You don't feel anything. The story, is boring and kind of not important at all. You're not invested in the story at all because it's so oversimplified and it doesn't have any emotional connection to any of the characters. So in a way, it's like Suicide Squad. Like, the story isn't interesting at all, but the characters are, and the characters. It's a character-driven film, and it's the same with Justice League as well. But you do want some kind of connective tissue, so that all the villains can work together. Have motivation. All the heroes work together and have the motivation to stop the villain, and it just wasn't there. It wasn't there. The motivation wasn't there. The villain was very generic, and his motivations were, a big old mess. It wasn't relatable at all. It just wasn't grotesque like Avengers was. Avengers was grotesque, big, huge. They were fighting a faceless army, but just like in here with the parademons. But the emotional stakes they all had and the characteristics they all had made it feel like it was much more than it was on paper. And with this thing, with Justice League, it's quite the opposite. There wasn't enough emotional stakes. I think that's why it failed a bit, and that's why I think on a film level, the 40% is justified. But if you love DC, if you love comic books, this isn't a fair score at all. Because we bring our nostalgia with going to the film, so you have a total different experience when watching this film, and it will bring you joy. That's a sure thing. So please go see it. Don't be scared of the Rotten Tomato score. If you have never seen a DC film and this is your first comic book film, I don't think this is a great start. But yeah, if you're a DC fan, I think you're gonna love this film. If you're a dire Marvel fan, I think you'll laugh your ass off because there are a lot of things to pick at, and it will happen, and it's happening in the reviews, and some of it isn't fair at all, but some of it is. So just don't be scared of the score and go see it for yourself, and just form your own opinion. That's the most important thing of watching films. Form your own opinion. I thought it was quite good. I would give it a 6 out of 10. A 10. Yeah, it was enjoyable. It was really enjoyable, and especially since I love DC. So please go see it, form your own opinion, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.